To this day. To this day.
I hit him clean more times. I beat him.
Use your common sense. This is not me, y'all. I'm fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this.
This MAGA country.
I have a spicy take on that. Spicy take.
Oh, spicy. I mean, he didn't like it. Let's get into
it. Fajita. He didn't like it, man.
I didn't say that.
Look. Y'all know the rules. We're going to watch the trailer all the way through first, and then the second time around, you're going to turn the volume down, then we're going to give our commentary.
But that's trash.
Banana.
I mean, look, you want to react? I guess we can do it the regular way, but make sure you pause the shit, because people can't hear your ass when the trailer is playing, all right?
Yeah, that shit ignorant, yeah.
All right, let's get going. Jump in to watch together.
Tell your ass to be the key master and just pause that bitch. Like most say, pause.
We doing the Watchmen first?
We might as well, yeah. I already got it queued up. Fuck it. All right. By the way, this is Off the Top Podcast, the epicenter of pop culture. Instead, we doing trailer shit. Just regular video shit. I got Mo here.
Hello.
All right. Got Josh here.
Rockets and 7.
Oh, my nigga always with a basketball reference. Got Epic.
We're all homosexuals.
We are indeed. I think everybody agreed to that shit.
I ain't agreed to that shit.
We are no one. Just a little bit, Josh.
You don't like Dick, Josh?
We are everyone.
What the fuck? Yeah, watch the trailer, man.
We are invisible.
That's fine.
We convinced ourselves that they were gone.
But you like that lame ass text effect, dog? I'm done with you.
Bush, you made some shit like that. Don't act like you never made no shit like that.
Look at this lazy ass shit. These niggas got millions of dollars.
See? Now, if it was Marvel's whole ass, y'all be riding and sucking and shit.
Hold on, Bush. I know you ain't talking. You the HBO dick rider, nigga. What you talking about?
Oh, yeah, I love HBO. HBO my niggas, man. I fuck with HBO. Game of Thrones.
Because it's DC, bro. Stop capping, man.
First of all, I didn't even know Watchmen was DC, so there, nigga, suck my dick.
No, you suck your own.
I will, nigga. It's long enough.
Stinky coon.
Oh, please.
Are we safe?
Oh, representation. Okay.
People hating on Regina King, dog.
I guess we have ourselves.
Yo, Regina King be fine. She be looking fine as shit in some movies.
I don't know about all that.
No, you see in some movies, man, you be like,
No, not really.
This is the worst trailer reaction ever.
Was that Jordan Peterson?
Dog, go back. That was Ozymandias.
What?
Pause, nigga.
I'm sorry. What you said, Epic?
I was saying, bro, that was like an older Ozymandias. Now, I ain't heard the black standpoint. Well, I ain't heard the full black standpoint, but I heard the like white standpoints of how this is gonna be doo-doo. So before I even start getting to sports territory, yeah, I don't know if that was Jordan Peterson or not, but I think it's supposed to take place like I don't know how many years like after the original movie. It's supposed to be like a sequel and shit.
Oh, so this is a sequel to the original.
This is a sequel to the movie?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why we don't see that. What's the blue dude name?
Dr. Manhattan.
Naked ass
My
nigga
nigga.
throughout the movie, man.
My nigga, bro.
Just dick dangling in the wind, man.
What do you two talk
Third eye
about?
open.
Oh, nothing. Just the end of the world.
Pause.
So is Ozymandias gonna be like the only hero in this show, or?
Well, apparently, going back to the SJWs and the Caucasians and the right wing and all that kind of shit, it's supposed to be like a cult of Rorschach, so that explains like all these guys and masks and shit.
Wait, hold up. So
Okay.
you using SJWs as a stand-in for minorities?
I'm not trying to say that. What I'm trying to say is apparently some people gonna be mad about Regina King in here, and people gonna be mad about the whole, I guess, representation of the Rorschach guys might be in Trump supporters or some whack shit like this. That's what I've been hearing.
Oh, that makes my nipples tickle. I fuck with it.
Listen to the white folk and I listen to the black folks. So I want to hear y'all point about that.
Why all the cops got yellow masks?
Yeah, the cops supposed to be on some. I don't know. I have to look at it again and send y'all this shit. But apparently, it's supposed to be like some kind of like Blue Lives, Black Lives Matter type shit or some kind of crap like this. So, yeah.
Ooh, I mean, like Watchmen in itself is somewhat. Isn't that story somewhat political anyway?
It is about like the whole Reagan shit
Yeah.
that happened back then, and like Korean War and
Yeah.
post-war and all that kind of bullshit, like the post-war society. And you
So-
know that they talk about in this trailer how the hero's supposed to be coming back and shit. So I don't know if that's supposed to be hinting at the new age that we in now with the Marvel DC craze and shit,
So
the gods and idolatry and shit. But yeah,
Let me go back a little bit. Because HBO is pretty left leaning with their TV shows.
I mean they making American Gods. Is that HBO? Or is that someone else?
No, that's somebody else. I think that's Stars.
Okay, well it's the same damn company shit. Just like Disney owns Marvel shit. I think that's the way it is. Yeah, Disney owns Marvel. I think HBO is like a damn Stars company or some shit. I could be wrong on that.
Like all those dudes are white. So and the American flag in the left side. Yeah, we talking about it, Mo. Like jump
They
in.
do got the Jesus joint in the middle. Like
Yeah. I mean, what I've gotten from it is that probably the thing I'm most happy about with this whole thing is that I'm guessing this is a sequel series, right, to the original Watchmen book. That's what they're doing here. They're continuing the story beyond it. I think the thing that's really interesting about it is that there's kind of been this weird adoption, I feel like, for people that have like read or watched Watchmen, where they feel like Rorschach is the character they can relate to or understand on some level.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of the wrong reading of the character because it's very obvious that he's a massive fascist and kind of an extremist. You see what I'm saying? He's kind of like a vile, disgusting human being that doesn't actually have any middle ground. He believes in absolutes in every situation.
So wouldn't that if they were going the route or making all these Rorschach people, these people that follow him like fascists too, like alt writers, that wouldn't make sense. Wouldn't that be more in line with the character if they were to take that route?
I think that's why I respect it. That's kind of the reason I'm giving this the time of day because that's a really interesting way of doing it. One, he's definitively a bad influence on people's mindset, and second off, the people that adopt him as a symbol are people that were screwed up to begin with. You know what I mean? And I think that's pretty cool.
All right, yeah, I agree with that. What else? You mentioned Regina King, epic. What about her characters making that may get people upset?
I forgot who the hell she was supposed to be, but I'm thinking she's supposed to be like some kind of vigilante role or some kind of shit. Like if you go back through the trailer, you saw like someone with a hood and a ninja mask on, like a bootleg Ronin. I think that was her ass, and I think she plays like some kind of key component. Like either she's with the Rorschachs or she's against them, some kind of shit like that. So I don't really fucking remember.
Like what is the essence of this storyline, the Watchmen? Because a lot of the characters from the movie aren't present here. At least you don't see them.
The idea of Watchmen was a deconstruction by Alan Moore. Alan Moore is like a famous comic book writer. He was like the author of The Killing Joke. He did League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. He did V for Vendetta. He's a pretty big comic book writer. And the idea of Watchmen is sort of I believe it takes place in the past, and it's the idea of why superheroes don't exactly work if they were put under like a real world setting. Like some of them would become like extremists, absolutists. Some of them would be drug addicts. Some of them would go mad with power. It's just about what would happen if regular people became superheroes. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the idea of Watchmen. And by the end of it, it becomes a definitive end to that story. And it's pretty interesting seeing the aftermath of it. Like right now, there's a sequel comic called Doomsday Clock, right? Well, what happened was DC Comics connected the Watchmen verse to the regular DC universe. So the idea is at the end of Watchmen, Dr. Manhattan created the DC universe, and that's kind of the story they've been running with for a while.
Now, was that a good? So I remember that run. I remember everybody talking about it. I think you tried to get me to read that shit. Now, was that was that successful? Did that shit work?
Is it still going on?
It's still going on, not because it's like some super relevant story in the comics now, but because there have been delays up the arsehole. Like the idea was that this shit would be a 12-issue series, right? Like the 12 hours of a clock, and an issue would come out every month, and it would start at one point in the year, and it end at that same point in the year. That plan completely went out the window as soon as the artist and like a writer failed to make the deadlines and stuff. And that story is still going on. You know, it keeps getting delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed. But overall, it's pretty good, but it's not that important anymore because it's been taking so long.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like Berserk and shit, and Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
All right. So
Delays will kill your series, man.
So how do y'all feel about this? We're gonna go around here. Is this a watch or pass for y'all? Starting with Epic, how you feel about this?
I'll watch it just to see where the story goes.
All right, Josh.
I gotta see a pilot.
Okay. What about you, Mo?
I wanted to make this point before. I mean, I'll tell you how I feel just to get that out of the way.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. But I'll tell you why I'm looking forward to it. I don't really like the idea of just adapting something exactly the way it is in the comics just because it was that way in the comics. And the reason I don't like it is because if someone that's a comic book artist or a writer is doing their job correctly, they're utilizing what makes comic books special to begin with. If you can just take the story from a comic and make it into a movie, then then there was nothing really special about it to begin with. What happens is that movies provide a special opportunity to be able to tell a story in that way, and so do comic books. You know what I mean?
That is a great point.
And I think the thing that really frustrates me is when you try and do the exact same, like it's the Aladdin movie example. Every time we react to an Aladdin trailer or whatever, people are like, "What do you think about it, Mo?" And I'm like, the reason those movies were animated was because animation offers something that live action doesn't, which is like a character and a wild like an animal that shouldn't be able to speak can speak now. They have these crazy expressions on their face. You can have these crazy sequences that don't make any sense unless they're animated, and then you try and move that into a live action setting, and it just doesn't make sense anymore. You know what I mean? So if you're restructuring this thing to work best in film, then I think you've done a good job. And this is what it looks like they're doing here. If they're doing an entirely new story that's like a sequel to the original thing that was never really made to begin with, then I think they're doing the right thing. You know, it's a new story that they're structuring as a TV show first and foremost. It's not trying to adapt the comic book and trying to be like the comic book. It's based on a comic book and then it's moving in its own direction. I think that's really cool.
All right, so yeah, I do agree with that. I agree with what you were saying. I'm gonna watch it just because it's on HBO. I watch everything on HBO. HBO fanboy. So whenever this shit drops on HBO, I assume that they are picking the right shows. I assume that they saw a pilot and thought this shit was gonna pop. So I'll watch it because of that. And I do agree with you on that point you made about when you create something and you take it from something else. When you adapt something in a new medium, it should reflect that new medium. Like, it shouldn't be like directly taken from the comic because comics are different. You have to write it in a different way. Exactly. So I agree with that.
Almost every time I've seen something taken directly from a comic book, it never works.
Because it's not a comic book.
Almost like that Killing Joke movie. Oh my god, that shit did not work. Like,
and that's the problem, George. Like I said this before with like the whole Death Note movie thing. I was like, the reason this movie didn't work is because you're trying to make a Japanese thing for an American audience. You're trying to keep the Japanese shit. You're trying to make it American for American audience. This was never gonna work. You know what I mean? So my whole thing was that if you want to make this, take the concept of the Death Note, make it into an anthology series like Black Mirror or whatever, where random regular people get the Death Note, and then you have a TV show. That works, you know? That's
actually a good idea. Yeah, I fuck with that. Actually, that's a great idea. That's a great pitch. I'm gonna steal that shit, man.
Right, come on, boy. We going off the Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers with that script. All right, let's get right into the next thing we're gonna talk about here.